Hello, it's GotAUkulele back, fresh after a week off, and in that run-up to that week off, we've had a series of absolutely superb high-end instruments. But as always, I do try and cover the whole range, and a lot of those are priced out for people. This is the summary review of a new one. Read the full written review below. Do consider subscribing and contributing to the Patreon because it keeps this site going. This one's a bargain basement ukulele that some of my readers knew was coming. It's from a big box shipper store called Gear4Music, who ship all over Europe and I think into the USA now. They're a big warehouse company that ship direct from the factory. Not all junk, they carry some high-end stuff as well, but they have released their own brand name set of very cheap ukuleles. It's not really got a name, it's just the Gear4Music Soprano ukulele. An incredibly generic looking, like Mahalos and like so many other brightly coloured plastic painted ukuleles. This is a big music store that says that it cares about its musicians. So they had to get on the ukulele bandwagon, didn't they? So it's generic. It's a soprano. It's made of what they call linden wood, plywood. It's cheap ply. It's lime wood. It's basswood. It's about as cheap as you can get, really. And it's finished in this not unattractive blue colour, but very unattractive in the finish. We've got pooling everywhere around. Look at the paint coming up onto the fingerboard, and sort of floor marks and bubbles and runs and drips. It's pretty poor everywhere, really, and it's horrible to touch. And you can see the side of that sound hole is incredibly thick and rough and scruffy. It's going to be a quick review, this one. That bridge is a tie bar style plastic straight top saddle. It is screwed in place. They call it ebonized maple. Ebonized maple, that means stained wood. It's not been stained that much, actually, because it's really quite pale. No other decoration. Sound hole rosette is painted on badly in white circles. And looking inside, no bracing at all because it's so thick. No linings. Why would you need linings? The neck block looks like it's hewn from a tree without having been sanded. It's just awful inside, horrible. There we are, up to the neck. Not entirely sure what this is made of or how many pieces there are because it's painted in this thick poly plastic paint. To be fair, it's got a quite nice shallow profile up at the nut, which is really unusual for what I suspect is made in the Far East. But the nut width is actually still only 34mm, so it's narrow. And it's got this really nice touch of the nut actually being wider than the neck. That means it gets really sharp up here when you play. Really sharp. That's horrible. The fingerboard, ebonized again, very pale. Don't really like that grain, if you could call it that. And really weirdly, the whole thing has been glossed. I mean, that's gloss over the top of the frets. The frets are brass, there's 12 of them to the body, the edges are really sharp. Why would you gloss over them? And aside from that, you've got some horrible finish marks and sort of gouging sort of shapes. Really hard for me to show you. Have a look at the pictures on the review, you'll see what I mean. It's just not very nice. You can see where those fret edges are sharp because they're popping through the paint. Okay, beyond that plastic nut, generic crown-shaped headstock, again poorly finished. These white bushings, one of them doesn't sit properly and I can't push it down because I think there's a wedge of wood underneath it or something. It's just horrible. The tuners are generic, big, massive old ears. They couldn't even put them on straight. See these pointing together, these pointing out. It comes with unnamed clear nylon strings. Really weird gauges because the C and the E string are pretty much identical. They're taking an age to settle, so before I play it, yes, I'm going to have to play it. I'm going to just check the tuning because I've had these on for weeks and they're still just not settling at all. Really stretchy. And this is yours for an amazing price of £14.99. Less than a pack of Worth strings, less than the price of a ukulele lesson with a tutor. There's something wrong there. Let's just check the tuning. I mean, to be fair to it, I kind of like the colour, he says. But you can hear generic rubber bands on a matchbox. No sustain, no real volume, no character. I can't really say anything about it. I can't talk about dynamic range and shimmer and harmonics because it just doesn't display any of them. One thing to say, it's really hard to play up here. It's got a high nut, but these strings... and that's in tune at the nut with a strobe tuner. There's just nothing. No sustain. Make it stop. Yeah, look, what I expected it to be, and it's really annoying. This is what people who are new to the ukulele think a ukulele is. Who do you blame? The brand for making it? The factory? The quality control guy who clearly had a day off? The shop for selling it? Or the media for telling people that the ukulele is cheap? Because they look at these and go, it's cheap, it's $14.99, it's Gear4Music, they're a reputable shop, I will buy one. You buy one, you get one of these, you think this is what a ukulele is like, you never touch it again because you think it's a toy. This is not what a ukulele sounds like. And more importantly, I'm not being snobby here about money. Buy yourself a Macala dolphin or an octopus. They're a little bit more than this. You know, you might have to save for another month or a couple of weeks just to put a few extra pennies in the jar. Believe me, they sound infinitely better than this. Things like a Kala KAS for 50 quid is light years above this. That's a beginner instrument. Just because you want it to be cheap doesn't mean it can be done cheap. This is the problem with society and musical instruments generally these days. I want cheap. I get that money's tight for people. Just save another month, find a bit more, go and wash some cars, just do something. Just don't buy this. This is just so generic. It's not the worst of the generic ones I've ever played. The Ashton, the Martin Smith were much worse than this one, but still, this is not what a ukulele sounds like. It's badly made. Yeah, someone will say, put better strings on it, you make it sound better. Why would you put £10 strings on a $14.99 instrument? You're almost doubling the price of your outlay. For what? It's still poorly made. It's still got that gloopy paint everywhere. It's still got flaws. It's still got wonky tuners. It's still got a really uncomfortable sharp neck. It's still got that glossy fretboard. Why would you polish it? Why would you try and make it better? The Gear4Music Soprano, just don't buy this. This isn't a ukulele. It's a birdhouse or something. I hate it. Absolutely hate it. Weirdly, as I say, not one of the worst. I'm back next week. Another Soprano next week. Could not be more different from this one, as you will see. So stay tuned. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I will see you very soon. Bye-bye.